Mpanju, Mheshimiwa Balozi wa Uingereza Ambassador Mary Neil O'Neill, and the representatives, of course, on the high table. I have my colleagues here, the Deputy Secretary General, Engineer Mlote, here with us, and I want to thank you because he was very instrumental in mobilizing this. We have the Honorable Basvamo, the Deputy Secretary General. Actually, gender falls under his dockets. Until the members of Parliament here present, represented by Ambassador Fatuma Ndangiza, and I've heard your powerful speech indeed, and you can see it as strength. She also doubles as the chairperson of the Committee on Regional Affairs and Conflict Resolution of the ALA. And I want to also recognize in a very special way my sister, Jenny Ross. She's been the one actually coordinating this. I want to thank you, Jenny Ross. Indeed, you can see the power of women when we come to organizing events that are very successful like this one. So thank you very much, indeed, all of you. Good morning, and I want, in a very special way, to welcome you to the East African Community Secretariat. This is your secretariat. This is the secretariat of the people of East Africa. And honestly, coming on a day like this, to celebrate the International Women's Day, and do it at the secretariat, that signifies the importance yourselves as women attached to this community. So I want to thank you in a very special way. The Honorable Chief Guest today, the International Women's Day is special in so many ways, and we all know. Indeed, when Honorable Fatuma was analyzing the number of leaders we have in this region who are women, I was thinking that, you know, many other big things that women have done in this world, and we must always be there to support and stand with them. I can confirm that all of us as leaders, and if you compare even the countries where there is women leadership, and you are clearly giving even an example of Mama Samia, look at the transformation that we are experiencing in this country. It's because of the women leadership. I want the Honorable Chief Guests to thank, through you, Her Excellency Mama Samia, for the wonderful job she's doing for Tanzania, but also for East Africa, and indeed for the world. Pass a very good message of love to her from ourselves, and you tell her that we all stand to support her leadership, because that is very important. Today, we are celebrating International Women's Day, but also at a time when the world is experiencing a number of challenges around the climate change. It's only fair that given that the climate change affects women in a great deal, we try to see how the gender equality, and the theme is very befitting, the gender equality today for a sustainable tomorrow, and the theme being the break the bias, and looking at the advancing gender equality in the context of climate crisis that we are experiencing in the world, and disaster risk reduction becoming a big challenge in this century, 21st century. Women are increasingly being recognized as more vulnerable to climate change impacts than men, as they constitute the majority of the world's poor and are more dependent on the natural resources which climate change threatens the most. At the same time, women and girls are effective and powerful change leaders and change makers for climate adaptation and mitigation. They are involved in sustainability initiatives around the world, and their participation and leadership results is more effective on climate action. Continuing to examine the opportunities as well as the constraints to empower women and girls to have a voice and be equal players in decision-making related to climate change and sustainability is very essential for sustainable development and greater gender equality. Without gender equality today, a sustainable future and an equal future remains beyond our reach. Therefore, it's important that we fully embrace women, and particularly those who are in leadership. You are aware 70% of the 1.3 billion people living in conditions of poverty are women. In urban areas, 40% of the poorest households are headed by women. Women predominate the world's food production. What we eat in the world, 50 to about 80%, it is actually done by women. But now, in the contrast, they own less than 10% of the land, yet they're producing 80% of what we are eating. 80% of the displaced by climate-related issues and changes around the women are women and girls. And therefore, climate change may even lead to more gender-based violence and an increase in child marriages and worsening sexual and reproductive health. And therefore, it's important, all of us, we take this as a challenge and take it up. At the community, at the East African community, we embrace climate change, and the community remains a leader in this. And therefore, I think it's important going forward as we celebrate these reports. Madam Fatima, you've talked about the leaders